within my reach I could have touched, I might have chanced that way. Soft sauntered through the village, saunters as soft away. So unsuspected violets within the field lie low, too late for striving fingers that passed an hour ago. Oh, hello, darling. Are you ready? You've said your final goodbyes that you needed to. All right. Well, then I do believe that it's time. I know you've been waiting for this day for a very, very long time. And I've been putting it off for a very, very long time. It has nothing to do with you or your loyalty or us or anything like that. It's just, well, I know that you know my, when I was turned, it was not with anyone who cared about me. I was not taken care of or taught anything, and it was against my will. So the idea of turning someone else into a vampire, even if it is someone that I care so deeply about, it's conflicting emotions, as I know that you know. The thought of subjecting anyone else to this eternal life of unliving for centuries, I never thought that I would. And then I met you. And the closer that we got and the more that I grew to care about you, and the more that you asked about becoming a vampire, the more I started to consider it, the possibilities. It is quite romantic, isn't it? I just don't want you to wake up one day and regret it, and then your heart would full of hate for me. I know you don't think that's going to happen. I don't think so either. I mean, I suppose there's always a possibility, but you are someone who has always been so loyal. There's no need for that to change. Many things will change, of course. You won't be my blood donor anymore. But that doesn't need to change. Well, have a seat. Why don't I pour you some wine, alright? I thought we could finish off this bottle that we started the other night. Very good year. Now, once you've fully turned, we'll open a new one in celebration. But that's going to be a little while. I would suggest having some wine tonight, my dear. What you're about to endure is, it's not going to be pleasant. I suppose we can at least start there. You see, the concept of turning someone into a vampire is rather simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. It's like running a marathon. The concept of a marathon is very simple. You run until you're finished. But that doesn't mean that running a marathon is easy. And you, my dear, have quite the marathon in front of you. Let's open this up, shall we? We'll discuss a bit about what's about to happen. I know we've talked about it before, But I just need you to be absolutely sure. There you are, my dear. I think I'll have a glass too, actually. There we go. Calm my nerves too. Just a bit. Don't worry, it is just wine. Alright. Now, the act of turning someone into a vampire, it's really just a two-part process. First, I drink your blood, and I'm going to be drinking very, very deeply. You see, generally when I feed on you, I make sure that I haven't gone so long between feedings that I lose control, because I would never want to drink too much in a way that would make you too weak or even kill you. It's not unusual for a vampire to kill their prey when all they see them as is prey. But tonight, I'm going to be drinking until you are just inches away from death. You have to be almost completely gone of this world. And so I will be drinking deeper and longer than I ever have. By quite a bit, might I say. So that's the first step. I drink your blood until it is all but spent. And then you drink my blood. And that, well, I regret to inform you, will kill you. Vampire blood is different than human blood. That's why we need human blood. Because I am, in all intents and purposes, medically speaking, dead. We need the life energy that flows through the veins of someone with a beating heart, a pulse, a breath, life. My blood is sort of a contradiction of nature, really. Blood generally means life, but a vampire's blood is death. And that will start the process. Now, after you drink my blood, you will enter into sort of a dreamlike state. Not quite a waking sleep. Moving right on the line between alive and no longer alive. For a little while. It's going to be surreal and strange and quite painful. Hence, a bit of wine to calm the nerves before we get started. Your nerves and mine. You see, I never have personally turned anyone before, but I have been present when others have done it. Because after the waking sleep, the waking dream stage, then you will awaken for certain, but you will not be entirely you yet. A fledgling vampire is a very, very dangerous thing. Because as soon as you wake up, you won't see a person for a person. You will be aware of only one thing. You will be driven within an inch of insanity by one overpowering sensation. Hunger. You will want nothing less. You will think of nothing besides blood. The life energy of blood. The sensation of it running down your throat. The feel of sinking your teeth into living flesh. So your body will be fighting the mind, because the body will be doing everything that it can to survive. But your mind knows that it can't. But we are creatures with instincts and adrenaline, just like any other animal on this planet. And so there will be a time of disequilibrium for a while, where the animalistic instincts to survive kick in. And for a vampire, that means feeding. Now, this ravenous hunger will make you far too dangerous to ever be in the presence of a human, unless you want to absolutely demolish them. And I know that that's not what you want, my dear. So, although you may roam and prowl and hunt in this estate of mine, you will not find any living human being. I have dismissed all of my servants that are not vampires, and those who remain are ones who are very powerful and have the ability to subdue you in your animalistic state, if need be. Hopefully that won't be the case, but there are certain precautions that need to be taken. So, you will roam this estate, my grounds, looking for prey. Unfortunately, you won't find any, but that is why I have a very good stock of these. Don't worry, all of it is freely donated and intended for vampires. I didn't raid a hospital or anything like that. This will be what you survive on for the first little while of your transformation, because that ravenous hunger will make it very difficult to control any sort of nerves, any sort of restraint will be all but impossible for quite a while. Now, once your mind and your body start to communicate a little more, and you find that equilibrium, once I can look into your eyes and see that it is truly you once again, then, very slowly, when you're not ravenously hungry, I will begin to introduce some fresher human blood. And once you've proven to me that you can take a sip and stop, then we will very slowly work our way up to you actually feeding from a willing human. I will teach you how, and I will certainly be present for the first while. You see, even after the ravenous hunger has subsided, switching from a blood bag to the real thing. It is quite a sensation. The feeling of sinking your teeth into a living soul. The pulsing heartbeat. The heat. It can be a bit intoxicating. Especially for a young vampire. But no matter what happens, you will have me. I will be here by your side every step of the way. Even when you don't really feel like yourself. Somewhere deep down you might have the recognition of, this is not who I am, but for a while the instincts will reign. And even during that time I will be by your side. I would never let anything happen to you that's going to cause you harm. Of course, as a vampire, you'll be able to heal very quickly. So that will be nice. But I will be here to protect you. To guide you through the process. And then to teach you the ins and outs of being undead. But it's going to be some time before we get there. I know we've discussed this before, but I just need to make sure that you know exactly what you are getting yourself into. Okay. You know, there was someone else before you. We've discussed this before as well. Someone who was my donor for a very long time. They asked me to turn them as well. But I refused. I couldn't imagine putting someone that I cared about through this process. But then, of course, they continued to age, and eventually they died and left me anyway. I wouldn't say that it's a regret, but it's certainly one of my greatest what-ifs. But I think I needed to go through that in order to accept the thought of turning you. It would be very, very nice to have an actual companion. You are my companion. We are very much people who care about each other. But to have a companion that lasts for more than a few decades, that could share the rest of this unliving eternity with me. And of course, you know you'll always be taken care of. All right, my love. Are you ready? Okay. I am too. I really am. I wasn't sure, even up until this moment. I see that look in your eyes. The determination, the commitment. It's time. Well, before we get to the bite, I can, of course, help to ease your mind a bit. It won't help the process be any shorter, I suppose, but it could at least take away some of the pain. of the initial transformation. Your heart will feel like it's on fire. Your blood will feel as though it's boiling, and then as if it is frozen solid. It's quite unpleasant. But with a bit of vampire hypnosis, we could ease the unpleasantness a little bit. Does that sound good? Of course, my dear. Anything to help this process go a bit smoother for you. Alright. Now, I would like you to just focus on my hands as much as you can. Forget the rest of the world. Just focus on my hands and my voice. You are safe. You are with someone who cares deeply about you. You are about to embark on a difficult journey, but at no point during this journey will you be alone. The pain that you feel will be greatly lessened by the protection of someone who cares about you. Though your body will experience pain, your mind will remain a little bit numb. Your mind will remain at ease. And when you awaken into your new form, you will still not be alone. You will always be safe. You will always be cared for. You will be taught. You will be looked after. You will face eternity together. And you will always have me by your side. You are safe. And you are loved. Alright. Now. It's time. I'm going to count it down from 10 to 1. And then we will start the reading. Alright. Oh. There's still some of the sweetest blood I've ever tasted. I can feel your life starting to drain. Yeah, darling, quickly. I've prepared my blood for you. You are in no state to be trying to bite through the skin of a vampire to drink from the source. Trust me, I've prepared those already for you. All you have to do is take a sip. Doesn't have to be much, just a sip. There. Now I'm afraid the very unpleasant part is about to start, my dear. Don't fight it. Your vision will start to go black. Let it. Whenever you're here, I'll be here for you. I'll see you on the other side, my love.